Alrighty. A lot of folks have asked quite a bit about me potentially doing a voiceover, more how to play the deck. Obviously, I've written some guides, done a couple things there, but I'm going to try and do some kind of commentary on some of my videos and kind of explain my thought process and the general concept behind why I make the decisions I make and how to play the deck against different decks. So here, obviously, a bit of an awkward hand, but we keep it because we have Urborg and Besiege the Mirror. Urborg, Besiege the Mirror, and Spelunking. These last two cards don't really matter. Turn 3 Spelunking at the worst, and then obviously we've also got Urborg, which basically, Urborg and Besiege, there's plenty of different fodder in the deck. So having Urborg to get the triple black for Besiege is really the most important part here. We don't know what opponent's on yet. He has no companion. Opens with a ponder with a basic island. Could be any number of things. So Prismatic Vista is kind of weird. I think for a second, I want to play around Force Spike. I've been got by Force Spike out of Frog, for example, and I'm still not sure what opponent's on. Basic Island, Prismatic Vista could be Frog, could be whatever. And again, I just wanted to get those lands down and get things going. Again, auto lands, but I play 30 lands in my deck, so 50% plus should not be an issue here. So they fetch a basic mountain, and then fetch another basic island. A lot of basics, kind of weird. Faithless Looting immediately lets me know this is probably Wizards. Yeah, double Ponder and a Looting. This has to be Phoenix. There's no way there. It's a Phoenix on a slower draw. Normally they're just blasting off, one-drop spells as fast as they can. And there's the Phoenix, so very obviously Phoenix. He deems inferior, we don't care, because we're out of lands anyways. And funnily enough, we play Spelunking, and then we rip exactly Lotus Field off the top. The opponent would be dead if we were able to Besiege here. So we don't have the fodder to Besiege because he deemed inferior the Exploration. So even though we can play Lotus Field, it doesn't actually get us anywhere. We can just Lotus Field, Mortuary, Reclamation, but not enough for Analyst and not enough for a proper Besiege. So we just got to hang tight. He is deterministically dead next turn. So assuming nothing crazy happens or doesn't have, whatever interaction, we should be pretty good. We have a stacked hand, we have Besiege, we have Splendid, we have Analyst. There's not an awful lot that he can really do to meaningfully interact with us game one most of the time. I do say that occasionally, so I play around this here. I know for a fact that some play main deck Noxious Revival or Surgical Extraction. So as much as I can, I don't want to get got by that or a potential Force of Negation. Unlikely game one, but it's something to be aware of. So I play that. I think about it. If he goes to Surgical, the Lotus, something could happen, but he pauses, which obviously makes me think, this is interesting. We get the second Lotus Field, which feels really good. I have to think for a second here, how are we doing? How are we playing this? But I realize I have triple black, and I have exactly 6 mana, which 6 mana means this new card we play, kind of handy, Sylvan Library. Incredible grindy card, but also it's sometimes a Besiege fodder. And that resolved, so it lets us know probably no Force of Negation. He's probably got some kind of, removal spell. And again, if he didn't counter that, he didn't counter that. Scape Shift's probably going to happen. So pretty straightforward. We can get Scape Shift. We have 4 lands, which means we can get up to, a shitload of mana if we want to. We don't need Echoing Deeps, though. We already know that we have an Analyst in our graveyard. So we have exactly 8 mana, which allows us to Shifting Woodland the Analyst. Again, we're not sure if he has Surgical or Noxious. Is he going to Noxious or Surgical that? We have a backup Reclamation. We didn't need it. The nice thing, 4 mana is whatever. And at this point, it's basically the game is a free roll. The game is over. We've got tons of mana, very very easy to play. There's nothing fancy about this if you know the core concept of the deck. We've got plenty of mana, plenty of whatever we want. We happen to have 3 Shifting Woodlands, and if you notice earlier, we happen to have Sabbatender in our graveyard. So, pretty easy. Copy Sabbatender, copy Analyst. And if he had a Noxious or a Surgical, he would have tried it long ago. Why is he holding mana up? Up. Now we know he's holding up on Holy Heat. It doesn't matter because we can just copy, another Sabbatender. And of course, these are lands. So he kills the Sabbatender, and it immediately comes back. I name Phoenix on my Echoing Caverns just to kind of... I enjoy it. It's fun. Lets them know I know what they're doing. In order to confuse them. Like, Eldrazi players get super paranoid when you name Eldrazi against them. It's kind of funny. Yeah, opponent scoops. He knows what's up. For boarding here. Boarding is relatively straightforward. I'm just checking to see, there's a lot of basics. That kind of throws me for a loop. I'm thinking, do I want Dismember or not? The answer is I don't think I do. I'm up a game, which is really important. So if he has Harbinger or Magus, blue and red, I'm not super concerned about it. The biggest thing I want to do, and obviously you can see I brought them in immediately, is Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void is phenomenal against Prowess, phenomenal against Wizards, phenomenal against Phoenix, obviously. Half their deck is a bunch of 1-drops, so you land a Chalice and half their deck is turned off. They can deem inferior it, but usually by the time they're deeming it inferior, it's very late game. So unless I keep a super slow hand, it's very unlikely to matter if they can remove it. Sometimes I'll bring a Defense Grid if I saw counter spells. Did not see any counter spells. And Surgical isn't even here for Phoenix. Phoenix is too slow, really, to compete with me. I want to be max interaction, but Surgical Surgical and Phoenix doesn't really matter. They have the Demi Liches, and there's no gotcha that I really want a Surgical on them. So Surgical's not worth bringing in, I think, against Phoenix. It also goes counter to my Chalice. I don't want to slam a Chalice on one, turn 2, and then draw a Surgical down the road when it's really not that impactful. So I'll look at this. We have a Chalice hand. It's very slow. The rest of the hand is pretty garbage. We drew 3 colorless lands. Our Vestige is obviously a 1-hit, but we're kind of obligated to keep this because of the Chalice and the library. I think the library will. I'm hoping the Chalice on 1 into library will dig me out of this eventually, and then obviously we have the Beseech the Mirror down the thing to eventually get us wherever we need to get. Opponent plays 25 Ponders in their deck, so apparently they always have turn 1 Ponder, turn 2 Ponder. So I have no other untapped lands, unfortunately, so I have to play the Surgical. Thankfully, I have an Archway available to reset it. Opponent pauses here, kind of sus. Do they have Surgical? Do they have Noxious? Or, because Ruby Storm's everywhere, are they playing Force of Negation? They're looking at their hand an awful lot. Turns out they do, in fact, play Force of Negation. I don't know if it's super popular. Some lists have it, some lists don't, I think. Thankfully, he threw away the Demi-Lich to cast that, which is kind of good. So, opponent still is relatively slow. They're just spinning their wheels here. Yep, and a Thought Scour. And of course, one of their 25 Ponders. I literally look at how are they hitting all of their Ponders in the top part of their deck? That's funny. Backup Splunking is good, but nothing else about this is good. Maybe I mean, no matter what, I get to play a Vestige. As I get to play Spelunking next turn, so this way my Lotus Field can ramp me. I wanted to maximize mana instead of playing Lotus Field and sacking. I wanted to play Vestige and then go from there, because there's a chance that I can do something with this mana. Opponent keeps pausing, and he was really aggressive about countering the fuck out of that Chalice. Normally he would have saved that for Spelunking, so I kind of ponder for a bit here because I feel like he has a Surgical. He has to have a Surgical, right? Why would you be that aggressive about countering the Chalice on 1? So I opt not to expose Lotus Field if I can. Obviously, Analyst will mill a little bit. But again, I have a Spelunking, I have a Library, and I have an Analyst, so I feel relatively good about my chances of, if I get to untap, obviously, I just beseech into whatever I want and kind of go from there if I need to. So, opponent has removal. It's unfortunate I can't, get all my lands back kind of for free. So I have to think about things just a little bit. Treasure Cruise is pretty good. You get to draw 3 cards at the cost of half your graveyard. He had the Surgical. So immediately right off the bat, there we go. I was right to suspect Surgical. Obviously, I build my decks to a very high standard. Redundancy is absolutely key. Fighting through a Surgical is not at all a problem for this deck. We have multiple win cons, we have multiple combo loops, we have multiple mechanics of combo loops. So obviously he removed the Analyst. We don't care because we still have Splendid Reclamation in the deck, which is obviously, quite an option. We have the backup Spelunking. It's unfortunate that we have to... I'm thinking back and forth, like, should I keep it on top? Should I not? But, it sucks that we have to... Being forced to replay it, you can usually get there, but we kind of need to get a Lotus Field here. So if we get a Lotus Field, we probably win, because we have a Sylvan Library, we have a Beseech. If we don't get a Lotus Field, we probably lose, and that is exactly what happens. Culling Ritual probably shouldn't even be in the deck. Like I said, there's not an awful lot that it interacts with on their side. And I think about things for a second, and I'm like, I don't think there's any way. I'm just going to see what's on top of my deck. Yeah, that's not going to matter. And we can't play, unfortunately, any more lands. And we're missing the Beseech. I see the Force. I think, should I bring in Defense Grid? Should I bring in Surgicals? To counter their Surgicals? I don't care about extracting their Phoenixes. I think I decided more or less to just go with the... Was it the same? I think I just keep the same thing. I want to say I bring the Exploration back in. I boarded out the basic Forest, obviously. Yeah, I bring back in the Exploration, cut the Assemble. Assemble is a great card, but it never speeds things up. Exploration speeds things up. I'm back to being on the draw. I'm a much faster deck than he is. I want to just fucking steamroll in turn 2 if I can. This, not too bad. Culling Ritual, pretty bad here. But obviously we have the turn 1 Exploration into turn 2 Chalice. And then potentially turn 2 Sylvan Library as well. So being able to rip Chalice plus Library. I think so. This was a potential misplay. Luckily, I don't get got. But if he had Spell Pierce here, I probably should have played the Urborg out. I can kind of try to say, I wanted the Sylvan Library to resolve if he had a Spell Pierce. Not really. I mean, yes, but I should have. I want Chalice to come down, so I should have played the second land there first. But all's well that ends well. We get the Chalice, the Expiration, and Sylvan Library. Bear in mind, this is my turn 2. Opponent is now just playing his second land. This right here is part of why Sylvan Library is so fucking good. Sometimes we would just struggle to draw to this. Instead, we immediately rip a Beseech, which is fantastic. I already have an Urborg chilling, so I kind of think, should I do this before I play the Valgavoth's Lair or not? But because I'm going for a Spelunking, I would rather hit the see what I hit off the Spelunking, because sometimes you get like a Lotus. We did not. We play Valgavoth on green because Urborg's in play. Not that it matters. Urborg and Yavimaya are in play. We could have picked fucking purple. That generally speaking, you want to pick whatever you don't have the fixers. Urborg and Yavimaya are just great cards in this deck. Real big fan of them and how they do, honestly. They solve most of your mana problems. So we're a little awkward here. We can't crack Urza's Cave without +1 mana, because we need to have... We want to crack Urza's Cave to get a Lotus Field into play. And unfortunately, we cannot. So that makes things a little bit awkward. So opponent is paying their treasure cruise. They draw 3 cards just this one time. I am blessed with a Sylvan Library that I draw 3 cards every single turn. This stupid, like, what the fuck, Urborg? I thought I just, yeah. Sometimes I wonder if the Shuffler actually works, because if you recall, we put the Urborg down the other turn, and it still just popped back up, which is like, what the fuck? I double check my math. You can't activate a cave for a Lotus Field and then go off here. I need 6 mana to play plus activate Analyst, and I didn't see myself flip a Lotus, so there's really not much to be done here. I debate holding on to the other one, just in case, but I'm like, I might as well play 2. He's unlikely. Brotherhood's End is maybe in his sideboard, but I would be very surprised if he brought it in against me. It maybe hits Chalice, but he saw Chalice game too, but he's not. I mean, Brotherhood's End, would be a pain against Analyst here, but not really a super big concern. That's why I hesitated to play the second one. Chalice is on 1, so he can't really remove them both with spot removal. So opponent thinks very aggressively. Tank, 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 tank. So he plays his Demon Inferior, and like I mentioned, I want that on the top because I can draw it with Sylvan Library. Like I said, it's kind of slow. Notice I'm already a shitload of mana, and I have Splunkings. He goes for the Surgical. He had a Surgical in hand. He Surgicals the Shifting Woodland, which does technically cut off my Analyst loop entirely, this version of the deck. So if you have Mirror Pool is a way to beat it. But I don't have Mirror Pool in this version of the deck. Lists are, it's very, 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 very tight. Thankfully, he didn't have much. He has the Alpine Moon, and again, this is why Library is so good. I'm just going to rip, I want to draw a bunch of cards. I don't care about paying life. I think about it because that's what got me last game, obviously, if I hadn't paid the extra life. But I figure, yes, in this case, I do want the life. And I kind of tank for a few seconds here because I don't want to activate a cave. I can activate a cave for a Lotus Field or activate a cave for a Crumbling Vestige to get the blue to bounce with Otawara. And I kind of think back and forth, like, how do I math this out? Because I also have to bear in mind, I need to assemble the Splendid Reclamation loop, which luckily Reclamation's already in my graveyard, but I need to assemble that loop before I run out of reactivations with the Analysts. So, obviously, I go for the Escape Shift here. I get Beseju, Archway, and then a bunch of mana. And I want to have a bunch of copy stuff too. I want to get as much as I can into my graveyard as quickly as I can, obviously. And the copies can also re-enter as Lotus Fields and stuff. So keep in mind, you'll see Full Control pop up there. I needed to activate Full Control specifically when I got the Archway. Otherwise, Archway bounce will resolve before you have a chance to do anything. So if you need the mana, I didn't need the mana really here. But if you do need the mana, it's a good thing to do. And obviously I have my Lotus Field that I play from hand to start things, even though I flipped the other Lotus Field. And now it's relatively straightforward. We just need to make sure that we get the... that was a mistake. I forgot. I do not want to put Sabatender into my graveyard because I'm out of Shifting Woodlands. I wasn't really thinking that through there. I can get back whatever spell I want, and obviously I can throw the lands in my right, but I shouldn't have put Shifting... or Sabatender into there. I should have kept it in my deck so I could eventually draw it, and then just go from there. And I think I kind of think that through for a second. I realized that here. I'm like, wait a second, I can't actually I can't Sabatender win because Sabatender is in my graveyard now. So I do have Infinite Loop with Splendid Reclamation. I have the Reclamation Mystic Sanctuary loop, and time to play my other backup win con. Festering Gulch. Festering Gulch, you got to be real fast with playing it. And I think about also, Besejuing all of his lands. He plays a lot of basics. Not really a good idea. I have Otawara in my hand, thankfully, so that's obviously a good thing. But the nice thing is that one Festering Gulch, we have 2 Echoing Deeps. So we're able to do, we're able to loop 3 at a time. Right here, you'll see, I never had priority until it already bounced. So it's something to keep in mind. I just QQ to save time because time does matter with this version of the loop. It's a big deal. And I stupidly I don't know if I misclick. Misclick, misplay, I don't know. I should have hit the Mystic Sanctuary. That's my fault. I'm still thinking like, oh, I'm going to be bouncing and whatever. Thankfully, I have Aftermath Analyst to bail me out here, rather. An opponent scoops it up anyways. I mean, if he was paying attention, he might have noticed that, but it doesn't really matter because, like I said, I have Analyst, and I can just sack the Sanctuary and then just loop with Analyst the one time and then go back to doing what I was doing before. So, pretty straightforward. Hopefully that showcases most of the new cards. It doesn't show Witherbloom, but it shows why Sylvan Library is fucking busted in the deck. And that's kind of, why I'm playing what I'm playing, how I'm playing. Thanks for watching.